Hello, good evening, my loves. I am finally getting around to this video. And the reason why I haven't is because there's some definite, delay energy with this full moon. And some definite Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio kind of stuff coming up. For me in particular. But I just wanted to say, Sagittarius being about travel and expansion of consciousness, those things are coming up in the sense that it's like, I can't actually travel right now because I'm meeting too many people who are like expanding my knowledge and consciousness in this moment, and I'm just needing to spend more time with particular people here in San Diego. Really interesting, because it's usually about GTFO. But anyway, enough about my personal stuff. I want to tune into what this moon kind of means for all of us. And, going along the theme of Sagittarius, being ruled by Jupiter, right? So what I know about Jupiter is that it's generous, kind, playful energy. It's very, carefree, not as careful, but very caring, very humanitarian, and kind of just very fair. So that's interesting to think about. Sagittarius in the light of its ruling planet, that sign. All the Sages that I know love to decorate their world with really special things. They love their sort of ability to analyze culture and make generally really great friends. And I've become close with two different Sag moons recently. One in particular who also has a Gemini sun. The sun's in Gemini right now, so I'm really looking forward to getting to know that person. Hello, creature, if you're watching this video. But yeah. So yeah, the first two cards that popped out. No, three cards. Oh my goodness. You know what? Honestly, I'm just gonna say these cards need a better cleansing and shuffled while I'm still talking here for you. Cleanse these cards for the collective. Pretty please, my goodness. Because, 4 cards just popped out, literally from the energy of the person in the last reading that I gave. So I'm just gonna shuffle these crazy before I really allow for any kind of further messaging to come up. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put my energy into the cards. Show me the Sag full moon. You gotta remember, these energies continue to last through. The full moon's actually early tomorrow morning, so it'll last all into the next 24 hours after that. So tomorrow, this is a reading that's specifically for the energies that are going to be prevalent later on tonight and tomorrow, but you probably already started feeling them. Okay, so what do we got here? The Devil has been coming up for literally every reading that I've done for people out here recently. Okay, so let's talk about the Devil in relation to the Two of Pentacles, which is here, and also simultaneously this sort of blocked inspiration, which Sagittarius is very all about inspiration, mental clarity, aha moments, mainly through what you would consider to be intellectual channels, collegiate stuff. But what this is here is, I almost feel like it's the Saturn influence getting in the way of that. That Saturn's influence in the sky, being in Capricorn, is sort of causing some tension in this like what we would really love to see be actualized in the world, like in terms of humanitarian stuff and everything, and even decisions that we make on our own. It can be hard to balance to feel balanced enough to allow for our true selves to come through. But here's the thing: masculine and feminine energies here, sort of being brought together in this really chaotic, disorganized kind of way. That's like it's all about not feeling centered, feeling like you're being kind of pushed around by life or by people or by like there's definitely tension and there's definitely indecision in the air. What I've noticed is that a lot of people out here that I've met, except for the Sagittarius people for some reason, are having trouble making decisions right now. And already, okay, okay, what's the solution? What's the solution here? Okay, so the lovers, okay? Talk about Gemini, right? But like it's Gemini season, and I feel like the energy of the sun here, tapping into that Gemini energy can really be like kind of like the solution to any stagnation that we might feel from Saturn. And that is generally it's the conjoining of a split that we feel in ourselves. I've noticed that the main theme too, it's like it splits. This is split, this is split, and this is a union, okay? This upright, not upside down, is the product of what you get from a union. It's like it's a baby being born, but a mental one, an intellectual one. This is yin and yang. Having a balance between how much you're going out, how much you're staying in, how much you're working, how much you're playing, how much you are maybe even showing to people, and how much you're holding back, how much you allow yourself to dive deep and stay on the surface. There's the dichotomy is there in every single thing that we do, but the most important message of all this is to remember to do it with love. One thing about Geminis that I've noticed about Gemini people is they can be very carefree and cheerful, almost to a fault. But every Geminis that I know is that they just exude a kind of like playfulness. Geminis like to play. They're really like, haha, hey, what's up? Like every single Gemini that I've met and or dated, I've dated a lot of Geminis. Have had that kind of like silly, goofy, like I can totally jive with that, kind of feel. So yeah, that's there. It's kind of just like, the ability to say, oh, fuck it. But the thing about it is like when we're split on anything, it's hard to be authentic. It's like we're showing one side of ourselves to a certain group of people and another side of ourselves to another. And, having talked to, a few Geminis about that recently, I feel like that's a thing, truly, with Geminis. So there's another thing out here that's like, it's the golden opportunity here, which it's interesting how this all plays out with the reading that we did last month, the King of Pentacles coming up, the Ace of Pentacles, showing itself as being like, okay, so here's the key. Actually, here's the other ace in the hole, is that our creativity is at the forefront. Geminis are very creative naturally. They have a way with words, and many other things too. But you find that many Geminis are naturally good at music and stuff like that. The Page of Cups is the artist, the bohemian, the kind of like whimsical. Like, I identify with the Page of Cups, quite a bit. The Capricorn influence, the King of Pentacles is Capricorn, but not necessarily the Saturnian sense. Not in the way that feels like, oh, Dad's mad, but in the way that's truly like, almost like a benefactor, almost like a person who sees potential in you, people who want to invest in somebody else's future. That could be coming up right now, because these two cards together, that is what they mean. So I would say now is a good time to express that passion that lies so deep in your soul. And how are we going to actually do this? I keep saying this, but like, how have you been wronged? How have you been wronged? I keep getting this messaging for like everyone who's into art, whatever. This is the time to dive into the bullshit that you've been through and make freaking gold out of it. Express that. Express anything that you feel about it. Express the elation of what it feels like to just rip off those chains. I've been listening to punk rock a lot again recently, and I wonder if that's part of it. It's like there's an alchemy that happens there, of like allowing yourself to become frustrated, of like, okay, why am I not Mr. Successful yet? It's because there has to be that fire, that passion, and that's Sagittarius too. It's like, where does that passion come from? I think that there's a good amount of knowledge out there specifically about social justice and everything that's been circulating around lately. And one place where I feel like we can unite is in our emotions, and that our emotional experiences can be a way that we find common ground, because we might not be angry for the same reasons, but we're angry, and we can and that we can speak to that. I'm gonna pull one closing card, just sort of like just fill out this very intense kind of spread that's all centering around. It's all kind of like about being centered and balanced, and also attention, bringing in like the two sides of the self, to be one. Gemini, right? Okay, what do we have here? So, interesting. Emperor is more so Aries energy, but it is definitely fire. So fire, and what do we have on the bottom here? Fire and air. This is the time. Okay, the Ace of Swords is sort of like blocked, being upside down. This is the time to let the passion come forward, express it artistically, and be a student too of your world, because like anything that you feel passionate about, in terms of like what you feel is like really your domain. Like, how has your domain been challenged? How has your how do you feel that like you could actually be like a ruler of your own life if it weren't for the powers that be? And then take that frustration and learn about where the root of it comes from. We can learn from ourselves, we can learn from our hearts, we can learn from books, we can learn. And then when we learn, we utilize that information and we kind of bring it to the masses in this sort of way that's just like, hey, I own this. It's owning our creative abilities and being and standing in a true sense of power. Baby, that's gold. There's your reading, guys. Peeps, creatures, friends, lovelies. Enjoy the rest of your night. Blessed be. I'm going to drop my website in the description box. If you want a personal reading from me, just follow that link. Blessed be. Thanks. Bye.